Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Thank you, Lynn. So, hi, my name is Dharmesh Patel. I'm a solution consultant in Google Cloud Healthcare and Life Sciences organization. And in my current role, I build and enable Google Cloud-based solutions for our healthcare customers, providers, and health plans. And with me today, I have Kalyan Pamarthi, who is a product manager on Google Cloud Healthcare API and focuses on SMART and FHIR. With that introduction, thank you very much for spending your time today, 15 minutes of your valuable time today. So today I'm going to talk about how to extend the existing clinical workflows using SMART on FHIR. I'm going to specifically talk about three things. One is the patient-generated data in clinical workflow. So what is patient-generated data? Why is it important? And what are the challenges associated to using patient-generated or reported data in the clinical workflow today? How can we solve those problems? We will go over a recommended SMART on FHIR-based architecture. And then finally, we will demo a case study to showcase how potentially we can implement this solution. So what is patient-generated data and why is it important? Patient-generated data could be the data that you get from, it's self-reported by patients. These are the data that are measures which are generated from the PROMIS systems, right? And it could be the data collected from the patients via questionnaires, surveys, and stuff like that. It could also be the data that are being collected via personal health devices and the monitoring devices like blood glucose monitoring device, blood pressure, and the fitness devices, the sleep monitoring devices, and so on. So why is this important, right? Now, the self-reported data provides a lot of information about patient's lifestyle, the context in which patient lives today, the current situation, and some of the measures which are created by using the patient-reported outcomes, those could be used potentially for triage, for diagnosis of the conditions at the point of care. So, and also, I mean, the wellness data and the fitness data that we collect could also give us more information about the patient, which gives us 360-degree view of the patient. If that is made available to the clinicians at the point of the care, it's going to significantly help in making the decision on patient's care. So it is important. Then what are the challenges? Why don't we use it today? So if you look at today's situation, if I take my example, even today, my physician asked me to keep a log of my blood pressure monitoring, log from my blood pressure monitoring device or blood glucose monitoring device, write it on a piece of paper or, print it and take it with him and then give it to him, which data never goes to my electronic medical record system. It stays on the paper, probably goes into the paper chart, and that's not used beyond that particular encounter or that particular office visit. So how could we make this happen, right? And I mean, our electronic medical records are, we all know it's stored today and managed in electronic medical record systems. If we have ability to write it back to electronic medical record system, it would potentially be great. But then there are some technical challenges with that. Those technical challenges includes challenges associated with integration. EHR vary in terms of their liabilities or their abilities to write back data. There could be issues with data formats and the way you can represent this data into the clinical systems or the existing EMR systems. There could be, we lose the context of the care. So even though this data is very useful, when we want to associate it with the encounter that is currently being in progress, how do you associate it into the context for the given patient? So those are some of the challenges that we have. And so what we have is a solution that we propose, which is based on SMART on FHIR apps and a secondary FHIR server. And this diagram is depicting an opinionated view of how this could potentially be solved. This is not the only solution, but this is a solution. So we are talking about two types of smart apps here for two different audience, patients and clinicians. Typically, the clinician's app is launched from the electronic medical record system so that the context of what is the encounter, who's the patient can be passed from the EMR system to the SMART on FHIR app, as well as the patient app, which is launched from the patient portal provided by EMR again. Uh, and, and the collection of the PGD is the responsibility of the SMART app. It collects either that patient generated data directly from the patient or from a platform like Fitbit platform where the data is stored by those devices, or a device aggregator platform where you can pull the data in, and then you can store that data instead of writing it back to EMR. And in this diagram in the left corner, you can see the EMR has a primary FHIR server, which is a possibility that we could write there, but for whatsoever reason, let's say we cannot, uh, and we don't, and the physicians don't want it as part of the electronic medical record, then you can write it into the secondary FHIR server. Now, once you write it to the secondary FHIR server with the support for FHIR referencing and all of that, your data is still cohesive, it's very well integrated, and then it is accessible from the clinician-facing apps directly. So I think this is our proposed architecture. What I'll do is in the next, I'll go over the key concepts of the architecture where we've introduced a secondary FHIR server, which is potentially a cloud-hosted FHIR server. You can easily and quickly spin it up. And then there is a patient-facing smart app, which is a smart compliant app so that it is more portable across the health systems, a clinician-facing app, which is also more portable. So if you have a situation where you are running multiple EHRs, then as long as the EHR supports smart specifications, you can deploy those apps across different EHR systems. And then we're talking about the integration surface is where the clinical data and the PGD data is displayed is through the SMART on FHIR apps. With that, I'll go into the case study and the demo. The case study here, what we took is for this particular demo was we took a questionnaire workflow, and this is slightly different than the questionnaire implementation guide that you see on the FHIR hl7.org FHIR website. So what we've done is we have looked at the questionnaire workflow, and typically when you see the questionnaire workflow, let's look at the outpatient settings or the doctor's office visit setting. A patient goes to the office, gets a questionnaire in form of a paper or something, or an iPad. They complete that questionnaire, and that information goes into some system where the questionnaire is there, and then doctor looks at that questionnaire and does something with it, which I don't know what he does. So in this situation, what we are showing is the patient will be able to complete the questionnaire using a SMART on FHIR app, will store that questionnaire data in the secondary FHIR server, and then a clinician will be able to pull that information and then look at it in the context of the EHR, because the questionnaire SMART on FHIR app is launched from the EHR. And potentially what you can do with this architecture is you could take the secondary data that you've collected, or the data that you collected from patients into the secondary FHIR server. You can potentially take that, use it for further research. You can de-identify that data, and in Google Cloud, we have a de-identification support in FHIR server. We have a secondary FHIR server as well, and then you can take that data and then export it to BigQuery or a data warehouse or a data analytics system where you can use it for machine learning and for a lot of other use cases. So with that, I will demo the SMART on FHIR apps, and then I will open up for questions. So what I'm showing is the left side of this picture, where the SMART on FHIR app is basically, I don't have the EHR with me, but I can use the Smart App Launcher as the EHR that I will use to launch my app, and my app launch URL is here. And I am using this for the patient portal launch. and this one for the provider. Let me share my screen. I think my other screen is not visible. So, and this one, I hope it is visible. So this is where the Smart App Launcher, which acts as as an EHR for me, which I'm launching, which I've configured to launch as a provider EHR launch. I'm using the R4 version of the FHIR server. I have selected a patient from the patient browser, which is already provided by Smart Health IT Launcher. And then I'm selecting a physician from the list. And then I'm launching my app. Okay. Okay, I think this is having a problem. Apparently, I think I'll have to make the configuration change, but let me go to the patient portal launch, and hopefully this will not have that issue, or maybe I'm using a wrong URL for this. Yeah, I think there's a change, and because of that, I'll probably not be able to demo this as I think the client ID has changed. So I think, but what I was going to show was the questionnaire app. Once it is launched, the clinician can select a questionnaire, can submit that questionnaire. Can you see my screen?
I see the Smart App Launcher.
Okay. Okay. All right. Can you see my screen now? So I think
Yes, we see the slideshow.
Thank you. So I think the app that I was going to demo, which didn't work, was supposed to display the questionnaire to the clinicians, and then clinician selects a questionnaire, assigns it to a given patient, and when he assigns that question to the patient, a procedure request resource is created into the FHIR server and sends a notification to the patient that there is a questionnaire that is available. Then patient opens up the patient side of the app and then reads the questionnaire, read the procedure request resource, and then it selects it and completes the questionnaire, submits it, and which is returned as a questionnaire response resource back into the FHIR server, which is then made available to the clinician through the questionnaire screen. So the status of the questionnaire going from assigned to in progress to completed is all managed within the secondary FHIR server as the attributes of the questionnaire resource and the procedure request resource. And the resource, the procedure request resource and the questionnaire resource, questionnaire response resource are linking back to the patient resource, which is not in the secondary FHIR server. That resource lives in the primary FHIR servers. Back. So with that, unfortunately, I was not able to demo because of the changes at the last stage, but with that, I will open up for questions.
Thank you,